Well, it's a brand new beam USB stick, so it should be safe. Oh, there we are. Okay, we as OpenStreetMap Foundation, we have a constitution, which is the Articles of Association, that kind of thing, and we are actually, since, well, we were kind of working on it, we want to make it, oh, there it is. We want to kind of improve the constitution, basically the letters of association, why do we exist, what is the purpose of our organization, and Articles of Association, how do we function, so how do we make a vote, and that kind of thing. Well, the current one is a little bit old, it's 2006, so about 5 years old now. It is time for a update, a refresh of the articles, and how we want to be, oh, wait a minute, this is, that's the one. A little bit about planning, real quick. We are a little working group, just a couple of people, and we have a legal background with Francis Davey, who is a solicitor, no, a barrister in England. We now have basically an idea of how we think we will see the organisation, but we'd like to have your input. In a month from now, from that input, we'll try to draft the legal text, which hopefully will get passed or voted on during the AGM in SotM in Denver. Okay, so everything here is just a proposal. We're not pushing anything on you, just starting a discussion. Okay, main thing, we want to protect our values. We want to protect what we're standing for. So we're looking for entrenching core values. Entrenching means that if we want to change it, basically everybody needs to agree to it. It's not that we have a majority vote. No, everybody has to vote on it. So basically everyone has a veto. So that makes it very, very difficult for organizations or otherwise to kind of take over the organization. So we try to put those strengths in. The question is, what are our core values? What do we need to protect at all costs? So that, so these are one of the questions we'd like to hear from you. I think we'll just go really quick through, and then maybe have some ideas on it. And an asset block is probably we can, for instance, or a database and everything, what's in it. If we cease to exist, because, well, for some odd reason, then the database should or could be located somebody else with an organization with similar goals, be open and freely available, so we can't sell it to an organization and making it closed. That's sort of two things that we're hopefully will get into the Constitution and say, well, these are the main kind of things. Due to time, really quick on the items that we're working on, maybe we have some ideas. Membership. Currently, members can only be the individual members. We're looking at other types of membership. Currently, looking at the individual, so that's the current members, corporate members, and chapters. Identifying three kinds of members also makes it easier for us to identify the differences between the members. So we can define that individual members have different rights than corporate members. But we need to think of what then those rights are. For instance, we could say that if we want to change everything, the individual members have always 60% of the total vote is by the individual members, and 10% of the total vote is by corporate members, something like that. Or we ground different kind of things. So we can make it, but if we identify those kind of things, we can work with them. So that's sort of the three kinds of, if you come on, we totally don't want to have corporate membership kind of things in it, we're open for it. These are the ideas that we think might work for the foundation. But then the most interesting question, we've seen that quite a lot during the license change. What is the position from the community at large? So the ones that are not member of the foundation, but are affected by changes or by votes or decisions within the foundation. Basically, we said, sorry, no. Because it is very, very difficult, but because you need to identify or claim well, first, who is the community? So who has rights and who has not? How are we going to impose that? You're getting into all kinds of trouble. And also asking, why aren't those people just becoming members? Because if they become a member, that really says, I propose, well, I underline the values and the ideas of the foundation, and I want to be involved. Then you have all the rights. So our idea is membership at large. They have all kinds of ways of expressing their opinions. Members too do take care of those kind of expressions, but we don't put them in our articles as that they have special rights. If they want to, they can do it by becoming a member and that kind of thing. Again, it's up for a proposal, but if you all think a community at large should have some kind of say, please say, but also describe how you see that, because we can't. Okay. Votes also very kind of thing. When have we made a decision? Again, different kind of types of members, like individual, corporate, and chapter. We can define who has what type of vote. We have said every member, depends on what you are, has one vote. But then would we kind of make it different? I would say yes, but I haven't figured out what the difference and that kind of thing are. But it's just my idea, and we'd like to have some input from you guys how you look at those kind of ideas. So the voting system itself, currently we basically have a majority vote. What we said, well, if it's about elections, we'd like to introduce the single transferable vote. An STV, it looks like some sexual disease, but it is not. Look at Wikipedia. It is says how it is. It was a kind of same system they tried to propose in Britain, but it's kind of also. It is apparently very hard to explain what it is, but I think, and not only me, that's a very good way of, kind of a democratic way of selecting officers or members of the board. So if it's about people, we said it should be a STV, a single transferable vote. Other votes or proposals, we basically say more than 50%. There's currently an issue with can the chairman also vote? Because if you have a tie, and the chairman has voted, do we have anything? We basically now say the chairman doesn't vote, and if we have a tie, then the chairman can also vote on it and then make the decision whether it's either way around. So normally the chairman doesn't vote, but if there is a tie, then he can propose, kind of say which one it is going. So it doesn't have a casting vote, but it has another kind of way. But then, more than a half, so like 50.1%, that's kind of weird. So at some point, in some issues, you do want to have a two-third majority. What are those issues? We need to know on what those things are. Well, apparently, if we want to change or accept the Articles of Association, I would kind of think that we want to have a two-third majority and not just 50%. But that's just one, and you probably want to have more of those kinds of things. So can we distinguish the, well, interesting kind of day-to-day things and the important, really important stuff? And the really, really, really important stuff, that's going to be entrenched, so that basically 100% needs to vote for to make a change. So that's a three-layer kind of thing that we're working with. Well, the board itself currently has set its maximum to 7 members. We kind of think, well, that's okay, unless you all think, no, it needs to be different. But then who appoints the board? Currently, it says that the members can vote the board, but we also can make it, if we have different types of members, say, well, of the 7, 4 members are voted by the individual members, you have 2 from the corporate members, and the board can select one themselves for specific kind of knowledge, to get specific knowledge within the board, because they need to deal with all kinds of things, and they really want to have a kind of thing in it. That's possible. So we need to think about how we're going to do it. I'm also, again, interested in how you look at those kind of thing. As board members, it is now a little bit unclear how long board members are staying on for their position and how it's done with re-election. We now said, well, we want to say board members are elected for 2 years and they can run for re-election. And they can run for re-election until they die. So that's, we haven't set a limit to that. Because we think the community is, or the members are good enough to actually vote.
The community is well capable of killing them.
Yes. Well, that wasn't what I'm implying, but well, yeah, if we start flame wars, well, yeah, you never know. Working groups. I don't think that we're going to mention working groups within the Articles of Association, but I have it on there to just say working groups are groups that are under responsibility of the board. So that the board can say, well, I would like to delegate certain tasks, day-to-day tasks, to working groups. So at the end, the board is responsible, but they have the flexibility in setting up working groups and delegating certain tasks. That's how we kind of think. But the most important thing is working groups are the responsibility of the board of the foundation. That's key in this kind of discussion. Then you could discuss the idea of who can be on the working groups that are only members of the foundation or also members at large, which now is also kind of, well, it is up to the board to decide, well, we only want to have members, or we can also have community members outside. That would still be possible, I guess. But that's also, well, I'd like to know. Okay, that was a little bit about it. What we currently have, just look at association review, search on the wiki, there's a page with all the things that we're thematically looking at. That's where we are. Let's have a discussion on OSMF talk, because, well, it is a discussion within the foundation, so we think the major discussion should be done on the mailing list of the foundation, so the OSMF talk. Also, the page itself has a discussion page, so you can also put something there. So these are the best. Yeah.
The list is only open to
members. Right.
The archives are public.
I think they are. Yeah.
People who are not members can go to the list page and actually look at the discussion.
Right. Yeah. So it's not that we're hiding kind of thing. It's not our idea on hiding. We probably also mention on the general OSM talk list that this is going on, but since it is the Articles of Association of the foundation, the main people who can or should have a say about it are the members of the foundation. So if you're not a member, you want to discuss this, well, I would say donate or pay 15 quid, as the British say, £15.